Let's talk about something most men think about, but very few truly understand. Intimacy is not about technique. It is not about timing alone. It is not about confidence in the way social media defines confidence. Understand that intimacy does not begin with touch. It does not begin with proximity. It does not begin in the bedroom. It begins in the invisible space between two nervous systems. It begins in the emotional atmosphere you create long before your hand ever reaches for hers. Most people confuse physical access with emotional closeness. They think that if two bodies are near, two hearts must also be near. But a woman can sit inches away from you and still feel miles apart if she does not feel emotionally safe. And she can feel deeply connected to you without a single touch if you understand how to engage her emotional world. For a woman, intimacy is psychological before it is physical. Her body follows her emotions. Her openness follows her sense of safety. Her desire follows her connection. If she does not feel emotionally seen, her body will not fully relax. And when the body is tense, intimacy becomes performance rather than presence. Emotional intimacy begins with attention, not distracted attention, not half listening while checking your phone, but focused, intentional presence. When you truly listen to her without interrupting, correcting, or trying to solve her, you communicate something powerful. You matter. That message builds the foundation of closeness. A woman opens up physically when she feels understood emotionally, when she shares something vulnerable and you handle it gently instead of dismissing it. She registers you as safe. Safety is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is knowing you have power, but choosing softness in your response. If you rush toward physical closeness without building emotional connection, she may comply, but she will not fully surrender. And there is a difference. Compliance is external, surrender is internal. One is about obligation, the other is about desire. Emotional intimacy requires curiosity. Instead of assuming what she feels, ask her. Instead of projecting your expectations onto her, explore her reality. Questions like, how did that make you feel? Or what matters most to you right now? Open doors that physical gestures never could. When she feels that you are interested in her internal world, not just her external beauty, attraction deepens. Many men underestimate the power of emotional validation. When she expresses fear, frustration, or excitement, and you respond with acknowledgement instead of judgment, you strengthen trust. You do not have to agree with everything she says. You simply have to respect that her feelings are real to her. Validation is not surrendering your authority. It is honoring her humanity. A woman's nervous system is constantly scanning for safety. This is not weakness, it is biology. If she senses impatience, entitlement, or pressure, her guard goes up. When her guard goes up, desire goes down. But when she senses steadiness, patience, and emotional consistency, her guard lowers naturally. Emotional intimacy also grows through consistency. If your mood changes unpredictably, if your interest feels unstable, she will hesitate to open up. Consistency creates predictability, and predictability creates safety. When she knows who you are across different situations, she begins to relax around you. You cannot build emotional closeness through grand gestures alone. It is built in small moments. Remembering something important she mentioned, checking in after a difficult day, noticing subtle shifts in her mood. These signals communicate attentiveness. Attentiveness communicates care. Care nurtures intimacy. Another essential component is emotional regulation. If you cannot manage your own emotions, you cannot create a secure environment for hers. If you react defensively to criticism or become distant when challenged, she will not feel safe being vulnerable. Emotional strength is not about suppressing feelings. It is about handling them responsibly. When she sees that you can stay calm during tension, that you do not escalate conflict unnecessarily, that you are grounded even when things feel uncertain, she begins to trust your presence. Trust is the gateway to physical closeness. Eye contact is another powerful emotional bridge. When you hold her gaze with warmth instead of intensity, you create connection without words. A soft smile, a gentle tone, a relaxed posture. These nonverbal cues tell her body that she is not under threat. Remember, intimacy is felt before it is spoken. Emotional intimacy also requires authenticity. If you are pretending to be someone else, she will sense the incongruence. Women are highly attuned to emotional inconsistency. When your words do not match your energy, trust erodes. But when you show up honestly, even with imperfections, she feels closer to the real you. Vulnerability from a man can deepen intimacy profoundly when it is expressed with strength. Sharing your dreams, your fears, your values without self pity invites her into your inner world. Intimacy is mutual exposure. If she is the only one opening up, imbalance forms. Physical intimacy without emotional depth can feel empty. Emotional intimacy without physical pressure can feel powerful. When you prioritize emotional connection first, physical closeness becomes a natural extension rather than a forced objective. It is important to understand that emotional intimacy takes time. You cannot rush someone into feeling safe. You cannot demand comfort. You must allow it to grow organically. Patience communicates respect, and respect fuels attraction. When you sit with her and truly listen, when you remember her stories, when you respond thoughtfully instead of reactively, you are building something invisible but strong. That invisible bond is what makes physical closeness meaningful rather than mechanical. A woman does not want to feel like a destination you are trying to reach. She wants to feel like a person you are trying to understand. When she feels understood, her defenses soften. When her defenses soften, her desire becomes authentic. Emotional intimacy is also built through shared experiences, laughing together, solving small challenges together, supporting each other during stress. These moments create emotional memories. Emotional memories deepen attachment. If you approach intimacy as something to obtain, she may resist. If you approach it as something to cultivate together, she may welcome it. The difference lies in intention. Is your focus on your gratification or on mutual connection? When you reassure her verbally and non-verbally that her comfort matters, that her pace is respected, that her boundaries are honored, you strengthen trust. Boundaries are not obstacles. They are bridges to deeper connection when handled correctly. Sometimes the most intimate thing you can do is simply sit beside her without expectation. Silence that feels comfortable is a sign of emotional closeness. If she can relax in your presence without feeling pressure, you have built something real. Emotional intimacy also means paying attention to her reactions. If she pulls away slightly, slow down. If she leans in, respond gently. Tuning into her cues shows emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is far more attractive than aggression. Remember, intimacy is not a transaction. It is an exchange of vulnerability. It is two people choosing closeness. When you prioritize emotional depth first, physical closeness becomes a shared expression rather than a negotiation. When she feels emotionally secure, her body naturally relaxes. When her body relaxes, affection flows more freely. You do not have to convince her, you simply have to create the right environment. In the end, the strongest connections are built slowly. They are built through respect, patience, and genuine curiosity. They are built through presence presence rather than pressure. If you truly want meaningful intimacy, start with her heart, understand her thoughts, respect her emotions, show consistency, lead with calm strength, and allow physical closeness to emerge as the natural continuation of emotional connection. Because when intimacy begins emotionally, it does not just touch the body, it touches the soul. Timing is not a number of dates. It is not 3 weeks. It is not a month. It is not, we've been talking long enough. Timing is emotional readiness, not calendar mathematics. Most men think progression is linear: first date, second date, third date, then escalation. But attraction does not move according to a schedule. It moves according to emotional safety, comfort, curiosity, and trust. You can know someone for 6 months and still not have the right timing. Or you can know someone for a shorter period and feel a deep emotional alignment that makes closeness feel natural. Psychological timing is about her internal state, not the external clock. Woman's readiness for intimacy is deeply connected to how safe she feels in your presence. Safety is not just about physical harm, it is emotional security. Does she trust your intentions? Does she feel respected? Does she sense that you are patient? If those answers are uncertain, no amount of elapsed time will create the right moment. Men often misread silence as permission, or they misread politeness as comfort. But psychological timing requires emotional awareness. You must observe subtle cues. Is her body language open or tense? Is her laughter relaxed or forced? Does she initiate closeness or simply tolerate it? If she leans in, mirrors your movements, maintains prolonged eye contact, touches your arm naturally during conversation, those are signals of comfort. If she crosses her arms, pulls back slightly, avoids sustained eye contact, or changes the subject when intimacy is hinted at, those are signals of hesitation. The calendar cannot read those cues. Only emotional intelligence can. Timing is also about emotional progression. Have you built shared experiences? Have you navigated small disagreements respectfully? Has she seen consistency in your character? Emotional bonds deepen when she witnesses your stability over time, not just the charming version of you, but the grounded version. Psychological timing depends on trust momentum. Trust builds gradually. Every positive interaction adds to it. Every inconsistency subtracts from it. If you disappear for days and then suddenly push for intimacy, the emotional rhythm breaks. She feels confusion instead of comfort. A woman's nervous system responds to predictability. When she can anticipate your behavior because you are consistent, she relaxes. Relaxation is essential for desire. Tension blocks it. Many men think boldness creates attraction. Sometimes it does, but boldness without attunement feels intrusive. Confidence is attractive only when it aligns with her comfort level. Psychological timing means matching your pace to her emotional rhythm. Consider this: if she has recently experienced stress, heartbreak, or personal challenges, her emotional capacity for intimacy may be reduced. It does not matter how much time you have spent together, her internal world determines readiness. Timing also depends on emotional investment. Has she begun sharing personal stories? Has she revealed vulnerabilities? Vulnerability is a gateway. When she trusts you with her inner experiences, she is signaling deeper comfort. Physical closeness introduced after emotional vulnerability feels natural. Introduced before, it can feel premature. Another key element is mutual energy. Intimacy should feel like a shared escalation, not a one-sided advance. If you are the only one pushing forward, the timing is wrong. When it is right, there is subtle reciprocity. She moves closer when you move closer. She responds warmly when you initiate gently. Psychological timing requires patience. Patience communicates strength. Impatience communicates entitlement. When you rush because you fear losing her, she feels the anxiety. Anxiety reduces attraction. Confidence in timing comes from abundance mindset, not scarcity. If you believe connection must happen immediately or it will disappear, you will force moments. If you trust that genuine attraction develops naturally, you allow space for authentic readiness. Another important factor is emotional mood. Even within a strong connection, timing fluctuates daily. One evening, she may feel deeply connected and relaxed. Another evening, she may feel overwhelmed or distracted. Reading the room is crucial. Is the conversation flowing effortlessly? Is there laughter, warmth, lingering pauses filled with comfort rather than awkwardness? These are psychological green lights. But if the energy feels strained, distracted, or tense, that is not the moment to escalate. Timing is not about earning intimacy through duration. It is about cultivating alignment. Alignment happens when both emotional states feel synchronized. Many relationships fail at this stage because one person pushes the pace faster than the other. When she feels rushed, she questions your intentions. She wonders whether you value her or simply the outcome. That doubt disrupts trust. Psychological timing also involves respecting boundaries without resistance. If she slows down, you slow down. If she expresses hesitation, you respond with calm acceptance. That response actually improves future timing because it reinforces safety. Ironically, when a woman feels no pressure, she often becomes more open. Pressure triggers defense. Freedom encourages desire. Observe how she reacts to light physical contact. Does she maintain it? Does she withdraw slightly? Small signals guide you. Escalation should feel like a dance, not a leap. The right timing feels effortless, not because there is no nervousness, but because there is no resistance. There is flow, there is mutual curiosity, there is shared anticipation. You must also check your own emotional state. Are you calm? Are you grounded or are you driven by impulse? Psychological timing is mutual readiness, yours and hers. If you are seeking intimacy to validate your ego or relieve insecurity, your energy will feel heavy. True timing is when emotional connection has created a foundation strong enough to support physical closeness. Without that base, intimacy may happen, but depth will not. Another overlooked element is environmental context. Intimacy thrives in comfort. A chaotic or stressful setting disrupts emotional readiness. Calm environments allow connection to breathe. When you sense her comfort rising, softer voice, longer eye contact, relaxed posture, subtle proximity, respond gradually. Timing is incremental. It is not sudden. It builds. If you ever feel uncertain, you can communicate directly but gently. Saying, I feel close to you right now, tests emotional alignment. Her response will reveal readiness more clearly than assumptions. Psychological timing respects autonomy. She should feel that she is choosing closeness, not being guided into it unknowingly. Choice increases desire because it maintains dignity. Remember that attraction is not a race. If you rush to reach a milestone, you may skip the emotional layering that sustains long-term connection. Depth cannot be hurried. The most powerful thing you can do is observe and adapt. Adaptation shows intelligence. Rigidity shows insecurity. When timing is right psychologically, intimacy feels natural, mutual, and meaningful. When it is wrong, it feels forced, awkward, or regrettable. So stop counting days. Start reading emotions. Stop asking, has enough time passed? Start asking, Does she feel safe, relaxed, and connected right now? Because intimacy is not unlocked by the calendar. There is a subtle but powerful difference between the two, and a woman can feel it immediately. Need feels heavy. Confidence feels calm. Need seeks validation. Confidence offers connection. Need says, I hope you choose me so I can feel worthy. Confidence says, I value this connection and I'm inviting you deeper. When a man asks from need, he is not truly asking for intimacy. He is asking for reassurance. He is asking her to fill an emotional gap inside him, and that shifts the dynamic. Instead of feeling desired, she feels responsible. Instead of feeling drawn, she feels pressured. Women are highly intuitive when it comes to emotional energy. You may say the right words, but if the energy underneath them is anxious, fearful, or desperate, she will sense it. And desperation reduces attraction because it signals insecurity. Need based asking often sounds subtle. It might not be obvious begging. It can show up as over explaining, over texting, over checking. It can sound like, do you still like me? Or are you sure you're okay with this? Repeated too often. It can feel like seeking constant confirmation. Confidence, on the other hand, is steady. It does not rush, it does not cling, it does not demand reassurance. A confident man is comfortable whether she says yes or no. That emotional independence is powerful. When you ask from need, you are outcome focused. You are attached to getting a specific response. If she hesitates, your mood shifts. If she says no, you withdraw or become cold. That reaction reveals that your intention was not connection, it was validation. When you ask from confidence, you are connection focused. You express desire clearly, but you respect her autonomy completely. You might say, I feel close to you. I'd like to take this further, but only if you're comfortable. That statement communicates three things: desire, leadership, and respect. And confidence means you know your worth regardless of her response. It means you are not asking because you fear losing her. You are asking because the connection feels natural to deepen. A woman feels safest with a man who is emotionally grounded. Grounded men do not chase approval. They offer presence. They do not collapse emotionally if rejected. They remain composed. That composure builds trust. Neediness often comes from scarcity mindset. It comes from believing this opportunity is rare and must be secured quickly. That urgency creates pressure. Pressure activates defense mechanisms. When she senses urgency that feels self serving, she pulls back. Confidence comes from abundance mindset, not necessarily abundance of options, but abundance of self worth. You believe you are enough. You believe connection should be mutual. You believe intimacy should be chosen, not negotiated. Another sign of asking from need is emotional overinvestment too early. If you treat every interaction as make or break, your energy becomes intense. Intensity without foundation feels overwhelming. Confidence is comfortable with pacing. It allows emotional buildup. It understands that desire grows when there is space, not when there is force. When you are confident, your body language reflects it. Your posture is relaxed, your tone is steady, your eye contact is warm but not demanding. You do not fidget nervously or rush your words. Nonverbal communication speaks louder than sentences. Confidence also means emotional self-control. If she says she needs more time, you do not argue. If she says she is unsure, you do not persuade. You respond calmly. That's completely okay. That response demonstrates strength.